So that's a bit about my investing background and how I came to be so interested in money and how I came to be practicing investing in property and in shares. Now I'll tell you a little bit more about my career and my lifestyle because that's had a big part to play in money school and why I'm here today. When I was 26 years old, it was the beginning of an interesting 18 months for me. I'd been doing very well at work and getting promoted, and I'd been working very hard for 18 months when I burned out. I became very ill. I was bedridden for 5 weeks, and as a result, I've actually lost half the hearing in this ear. So if you're ever talking to me, start on the left. Unfortunately, that hearing won't come back, and it was a very hard lesson for me to learn that you can't go on forever and your energy will not last forever, and that you do have to balance work with lifestyle and looking after yourself. And I think I'm pretty grateful to have had that lesson at 26 and only to have lost some hearing. Many people have a much more traumatic experience before they realise the importance of looking after themselves and work-life balance. That started me thinking about how I wanted to spend my time, and so shortly after that, my then boyfriend, now husband, and I went travelling around South America for 3 months. It was my first experience of real overseas travel. I'd holidayed before, but never backpacked around or really got immersed in the culture, and it really opened my eyes. I hadn't realised how other people lived and the amazing world that's out there. Swimming underwater at the Galapagos Islands was a real highlight. Hiking through the Saladillo Uni, things like that were fantastic exposure for me and really ignited a passion for travel. And I wondered how I'd be able to fit long periods of travelling in around a career because, of course, when you work in Australia, you only get 4 weeks leave a year. Now, the Americans will be going, yeah, well, we only get 2 weeks, lucky you. But 4 weeks isn't really enough to do a lot of travelling. And even with long service leave, I was wondering how I would be able to spend 3 months a year on the road finding out about other countries. So that was playing in the back of my mind. And I read a book called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Now, I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea of only working 4 hours a week, but what I loved about his book was the idea of lifestyle design and consciously building in retirement periods early in your life. So rather than waiting till you're old and grey and 60 plus to have your retirement, why not bring some of that time forward into your youth when you're young and you're fit and you're healthy and really experience life and do the travelling that I really wanted to do. So I learned about that. It was shortly after I'd read that book and I was thinking about how to design my lifestyle and why it would be important to me that my sister passed away. She had been struggling with mental illness for 6 years and had eventually committed suicide, which is obviously a heart-wrenching experience for everybody, and I can't imagine what it must have been like for her. The biggest effect that her death had on me was to start thinking of life as being too short. I started thinking about, why do I want to go into the office each day doing something that I like but that doesn't really ignite my passion when I'm young? Why would I spend my energy that way? Why would I waste my youth, my enthusiasm, especially making money for someone else? And I was coming to the realisation that perhaps fossil fuels weren't the best thing on earth, literally. And I really wanted to find a mission that I could be passionate about. Around about this time too, I was being promoted to a superintendent level, and at 26, that's quite young to be in charge of managing a team. I had my first experience of managing people and decided that although I really like teamwork, I don't like managing the 1 in 5 people who are really annoying. The 1 in 5 people in your team that, is going to take up a lot of your time and is going to be complaining or not doing their job and not being productive. I didn't enjoy that part of it. And so within 6 months of being promoted, having had all these things happen to me, I quit my job without another job to go to. It was daunting, absolutely. I don't think too many people would be happy about leaving a job that paid well and kept them in a good lifestyle without another job to go to. But I realised that I needed some time and space to think about what I wanted to do with my life. And I understand it's a pretty common thing. Often it's called a Saturn rising moment. I think it's really just coincidence that you've graduated from university and been working in your job for somewhere between 5 and 10 years and you've just realised maybe it's not the perfect job for you or that you'd like a change.